All right, everybody, what's going on? Barcelona won again today, and they look exciting. I think there's more to talk about. Yet again, they played Seoul today in Korea, unveiling the Kobe kit, the away kit. We're going to talk about all the kits this season. I think that's a hot topic right now. So we're going to cover that. We're gonna talk about, more importantly, though, what we're seeing from the boys, what to kind of expect too. I think from Hansi going into the season, and as the Gamper match comes up, the last Korea matches on Monday, I believe. So there's a couple more. There's a little bit more football to watch, and you guys know how I'm going to be watching it, and then I'm going to cover it for you guys, and we're going to go over everything. First and foremost, though, I'm excited about this team, man. I'm excited about what they're showing us in these games. I'm excited that they are showing us glimpses of the team that did everything so sick last year. And I'm optimistic, at the very least, for what to expect this season. Today, though, we saw some really, really good goals. I thought Gavi, we'll start. Hansi Flick did the same, like half the squad in the first match, in the first 45. Second half, he rotated completely and then brought in a couple more subs, which were the youngsters Guy Fernandez and Tony Fernandez. I thought Tony looked pretty good. I think Guy looked better. Is it Guy or just Guy? I was listening to the Catalan announcers during the stream on YouTube, and it seemed like it was Guy, but whatever. We're seeing Lingard talk to Hansi Flick, and dude, I set an alarm for 7 o'clock this morning. When I turned the game on, I was like, why is Jesse Lingard on my screen? I was not ready for it. But I don't know. Now he's talking to Hansi. Maybe he's doing some recruiting here. But no, he can stay in Korea for now after what I saw today. He looked like prime Mbappe with how many times he was offside. Main point here, though, the Barca players looked really good, and especially the first half. I think though they did, I think what was it, like 4-2 or something going into the second half, or 3-2. I do think the team in the first half looked a lot more dominant, looked a lot maybe not more dominant, but more comfortable in their play, and it's probably going to be Hansi Flick's starting 11. The only difference, like, that you would expect from last season was that Araujo was playing instead of Inigo Martinez, and I'm not sure if Inigo was injured or he, Hansi was just trying to rotate, because he didn't play even in the second half. Hansi didn't even throw him in. So I'd be interested to see, not really why that is, but what he does going forward. And, very clearly Barcelona did concede. They're still ironing out that defense. I think that's probably what Hansi's trying to do, figure it out. We're seeing Lamine and John Garcia speak right now. It's cool to see just everybody chopping it up. It's just good vibes. We love that. It looks like the dressing room looks good. And also, Lamine Yamal cooked today, my dude. Homie, I feel like we're going to see a very different Lamine Yamal this year. Remember last season when he was shooting a ton, but it was kind of off target. It felt very forced a lot for a lot of games, especially when Barcelona were struggling. He was shooting today, but he was just on target. And yeah, I don't know if the keeper was that great. He got his hand on a lot of shots that he didn't end up saving, but could have just had an off day. I think Lamine looked really good. I think Lamine looked comfortable. He looked confident. He looked better today. He must have read all the brain dead incels on Twitter, giving him crap for how he was playing. And, we see Marc Bernal. It's good to see him with the vibe with the boys. He's huge. He looks like he's like 5 inches taller than Lewandowski, which is, an interesting thing to say. Lamine Yamal's checking out the keeper jersey. And it's just nice to see everybody getting along, and Hansi Flick trying things out, right? I said the first Gala 11 basically was everyone except Inigo, and with Araujo instead. I think Ron looked fine. The offside trap it was working, but I think the linesman was making bad calls. They looked onside a couple times. So I'd be interested to see how the high line continues to work if Ron is that main guy. That being said, I think he can do it. He's made, his decision-making has never been the best. Even, when he was playing with Piqué, he needed to use his athleticism to compensate kind of for not having perfect decision-making, and he was able to. And I'm interested to see how that changes going into the season, if he is that, number 2 center back, or just the second center back alongside Kubarsi. And Pau is going to need, I think, experience around him. It's interesting because in the second grouping that Hansi put out there, Gerard Martin was playing left center back with Christensen at right center back. And I don't know. I'm curious what Hansi's thoughts are here and what he really thinks of Gerard Martin at center back. I didn't think he was I mean, he didn't really have much to do today. Made a couple fouls and everything, but it's hard to really get a vibe on defenders in the game where you're doing this much. But the last goal that was scored was kind of because Christensen was out of position too. So I'm interested to see what Christensen turns into as the season goes on and what his role really is. I don't really even know what to predict for that, but he scored a pretty sick long range shot here. He did that. What else we got? We got the Lamine goals. Ferran Torres I thought was really good too. I think he looks good as a little super sub number 9 or just a rotational spot. Like he was our 3rd highest goal scorer last season. He can finish, man. I mean, at least he did today. And if he keeps that up, and the connection with Marcus Rashford looked really good. I want to see Marcus Rashford with Balde, with Lamine, with Lewandowski, with these guys that are the starters, are the number ones, or are the first team. We'll see where his spot really is, because I know obviously Rafinha is great. He had an unbelievable season today. He looks like he links up really well with the boys, and it's weird to kind of split that up. So I'm interested to see what Hansi's decision really is going to be for that. The main point, though, is that there's a ton of depth here. I talked about this in the last video. I'm going to keep reiterating it because we're seeing it in the midfield where Gavi, I thought Gavi was great. And then when they took Gavi out, they brought in Guy Fernandez and Tony. I thought it dropped a little bit. And maybe just the understanding, the chemistry between all the boys and the ball control wasn't as good. I thought Gavi, not only was that finish great, Gavi looked really good. I think his responsibility in the team is going to be a little bit weird. I thought Joffre Torrens was really, really good. Again, you're just going to have to see more from him. Going to just be a backup this season behind Balde, almost certainly. But having depth, having a number 2 in that position that can not only be good, but also represent the similar role of the first player is really important for having a team that can lose a player to injury and then go immediately back to immediately back to playing the exact same way, maybe just slightly altered because the player might not be at the same level yet. Like with Torrens is seeming he's going to be, who I thought Fort was fine. I don't think he was stellar. I think I'm not sure what his responsibility is going to be, especially because Koundé is so reliable. We'll see what that turns into going forward into the rest of the season. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. They saw that Barcelona is looking to sell Virgili, who is, I believe, the other right back in the La Masia right back. But, we'll see if he wants to leave and what happens. And then having Casado there, who looked really solid today. I think he's going to be solid. We'll see what his responsibility is when Bernal comes back, because I think Casado has he has a... Like, when he goes out there, I'm certain he's going to play a certain way and a certain way we need. He's not really going to disappoint, and he'll show up when we need him. I think he looked really good in the first match of the summer series, and I think he's an incredibly valuable piece to this team. In the same way I feel about Fermin Lopez, same kind of deal where that depth and that solidity is not, or that play style is not necessarily represented that well in the squad. And so having someone who can do that and do it well, and provide depth at the very least is huge and is valuable to making a team that can compete in every competition. It's the same story as I've been saying, but again, Ferran Torres looked great substitute for Lewandowski, maybe even competitor. Who knows? As the season goes on, as the games start piling up, maybe Lewo will slow down a little bit, or maybe Lewo will he won't want to rotate, but maybe they will rotate. And then Rashford and Rafinha rotating. Dani Olmo looked great today. I just think Dani Olmo, a healthy Dani Olmo, is fantastic. So we'll see if he can maintain that level. I think it will be better this season with hopefully more rotation. Fermin playing more, because I think Fermin looked good today, and Fermin is just so solid. Someone I don't want to let go, but it really feels like we have 2 really quality players in every single position, and then the positions that matter. And Rooney Bardghji, I think that's how you pronounce it, Bardghji. He looked great today too. I think I've praised him before. I'm going to praise him again. I think having that depth that can provide a similar profile to Lamine Yamal is huge, and I'm excited to see how that pans out. I'm excited to see what happens. This summer, and it's funny to say that, right? Just because this summer is so not disappointing, but maybe disappointing considering the start and where it seemed like it was going with Nico Williams. And I'm not saying I'm upset that we didn't get Nico Williams anymore. I'm upset that we weren't able to make as many signings as we wanted to, right? We just really brought in Jean Garcia, which is a great signing, first and foremost. That is something that will be, he's going to be in this team for years. And, it was a really good risk to take. Same with Rashford, where he is not necessarily going to be, a replacement for years or anything, or a starter for years. But I love watching his pace. I can't wait to see him with Balde, see how they link up, because Balde's just a very touchline winger or a touchline fullback. He wants to run into space. And yeah, he does invert a lot. And so I'm interested just to see how he and Rashford work together. But Rashford looked really good. And I think having that depth there, having 4-5 forwards that are really, really solid, I can't complain about that, especially when we want to compete in as many competitions as possible, especially when we want to compete with teams like Chelsea now or PSG that have basically two teams of starters so they can rotate as much as they want. We need that. We have it pretty much everywhere. Left back, if Terence keeps developing and keeps showing up. Midfield, I've already said Bernal, Casado, Frankie, Pedri, Gavi. Number 10, Olmo, Fermin, now Tony Fernandez. Guy Fernandez, I guess, is a deeper midfield spot, and so is Dro. And then up front, you got Lamine, Bardghji, Rashford, Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Ferran Torres, all of which I think can rotate a lot and create an 11 that can compete against pretty much anybody, right? You're going to obviously start the Lamine Yamal, probably Lewandowski, probably Rafinha, Olmo against Real Madrid and Liverpool in the Champions League. But outside of that, you can rotate a lot, gives you a lot of freedom in the cup competitions, even in La Liga, where if we're going up against Mallorca or, Celta Vigo, we're not necessarily going to want to put out the best 11, especially if, we're trying to manage load and everything. And I'm saying best 11, but I do think that all of these guys can work together, and that's the main point here. I think Hansi's trying to figure stuff out like he did with Gerard Martin at center back, like he's been doing with trying to rotate this team, play two different squads, and I like to see it. I'm interested to see what ends up happening, who that real Gala 11 ends up being, or if there even is one this year. If we just keep rotating and rotating and rotating, that's probably ideal because we manage minutes that way. But let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what you guys saw today. Maybe I missed something. I always miss something. And I'll see all you guys at least on Monday, maybe sooner than that. Oh, the kits too. I just want to say, I don't love the kits this season. I don't love the home kit. I think it's fine. I think there's been worse. But I liked last season a lot more, and I'm not going to get the home kit unless I'm going to get signatures on it or something. I got the Kobe kit, Kobe away kit, just because I think it's new. It's something that we're going to remember for a couple of years, I feel like, because it's very different. I think Kobe was a bad dude. He did some bad stuff, but I figure I justified it now because he's gone. I'm supporting kind of his wife and his kids now, so I feel a little bit better about doing it. And that needs to be said because I think a lot of people are going to hype up Kobe right now. Wasn't the greatest dude. He was a great basketball player, but it's kind of hard to separate that when you're buying his brand. And main point here is the kits aren't great this season. We'll see what the third kit comes out looking like. I think it's orange, so we'll see what that ends up looking like. And the keeper kit's okay. There's like a warm up kit that's blue and black that looks okay, but yeah, not the best. A little lackluster, what I'd say. But and on a good note, Barca 7-3. That was a fun watch, and I'm excited to see what they do on Monday. Peace, everybody. Thanks for watching.